An overt narcissist is like a thunderstorm. You see the lightning, you hear the roar, and you know exactly when to run for cover. But a covert narcissist? They are a slow, silent leak in the foundation of your house. You don't notice the damage today or tomorrow, but one day you wake up and realize your entire sense of self has shifted. Today, we're exposing the signs of covert narcissistic abuse versus overt, and why the quiet version is actually the deadliest saboteur of your mental health. What you are experiencing is something many psychologists call identity erosion. It's that feeling where you slowly lose your sense of who you are, but you can't quite point to why. In a typical relationship with an overt or loud narcissist, the abuse is like a thunderstorm. It's loud, it's obvious, and even though it's painful, you can see it coming. But with a covert narcissist, the damage is more like a slow leak in the foundation of your house. You don't notice it today or tomorrow, but one day, you wake up and realize the whole structure of your self-esteem has shifted. This happens because covert narcissists don't use power. They use pity. They don't use demands. They use suggestions that leave you feeling guilty. The reason you feel so crazy is because the world sees an angel, while you are living with a ghost. Understanding the difference between these two types, the overt and the covert, is the first step to clearing that brain fog and getting your clarity back. You aren't imagining this. You are just dealing with a much more sophisticated stealth saboteur. Point 1. The source of superiority. The king versus the martyr. The first major difference is how these two types feel better than other people. We call this narcissistic supply, which is just a fancy way of saying emotional fuel. The overt narcissist is like a king. They want you to look at their car, their muscles, or their career success.
Their mechanism is grandiose superiority. They say, "I am the best, and you should be honored to be near me." The covert narcissist, however, finds their fuel in being a martyr. This is vulnerable superiority. They don't say they are the best. They say they are the most misunderstood, the most mistreated, or the most sensitive person in the room. Imagine you both get invited to a wedding. The overt narcissist spends the night trying to be the life of the party, but the covert narcissist sits in the corner looking sad. When you ask what's wrong, they say, "Oh, nothing. I just realized how much more I care about people than they care about me. But don't worry about me. Go have fun." Now, you can't have fun. You feel guilty. That guilt is how they control the room without ever raising their voice. Point 2. Communication styles. The explosion versus the deep freeze. The second sign involves how they handle conflict. When an overt narcissist is angry, you know it. They yell, they name call, or they demand compliance. This is reactive rage. It's terrifying, but it's honest in its own way. You know exactly where you stand. The covert narcissist uses passive aggression and the silent treatment. Instead of telling you they are mad that you went out with friends, they will simply be exhausted or sick when you get home. They won't say, "I'm mad." They will just sigh heavily, move things loudly in the kitchen, and give you one-word answers for 3 days. This is designed to make you do the work. You become the one apologizing, the one mind-reading, and the one begging for a connection. You tell your partner you're taking a promotion that requires more hours. An overt narcissist might say, "You can't do that. Who's going to take care of my needs?" A covert narcissist will say, "That's amazing. I'm so happy you're finally getting what you want. I'll just figure out how to manage the house and the kids on my own, even with my chronic headaches. Don't worry about me." Suddenly, your success feels like a crime you've committed against them. Point 3. The empathy mask. No heart versus a performative heart. This is perhaps the most dangerous part of the stealth saboteur. Overt narcissists
often don't even pretend to care about your feelings. They are low empathy, and they are proud of it. They might say, "Suck it up," or "Stop being so emotional." It's cold, but it's clear. Covert narcissists, however, often have performative empathy. They are the ones who cry at movies, volunteer at animal shelters, or spend hours listening to a friend's problems. They appear to be the kindest person you know. But notice this: their empathy is usually reserved for people they don't live with. They use kindness as a social shield. If you ever try to tell a friend that your partner is being mean to you, that friend will say, "What? But they are so sweet. They helped me move last weekend." This leaves you feeling isolated, like you are the problem. You are going through a hard time at work and you need to vent. The covert narcissist listens for 5 minutes, then shifts the conversation to a similar but much worse thing that happened to them 10 years ago. By the end of the night, you are the one comforting them for your own problem. Point 4. Handling criticism. The shield versus the sword. How does a person handle being told they made a mistake? The overt narcissist uses a sword. If you say they forgot to pay a bill, they attack your intelligence. "Well, if you made more money, maybe I wouldn't have so much stress." The covert narcissist uses a shield of fragility. If you mention the bill, they collapse. They say, "I know, I'm just a failure, aren't I? I can't do anything right.
You'd probably be better off without me." This is called deflecting through self-depreciation. By attacking themselves before you can, they force you into the role of the rescuer. Instead of discussing the bill, you spend the next hour telling them they aren't a failure and that you love them. The original issue is never solved, and they are never held accountable. You ask them to help more with the chores. They agree, but then they do the chores so poorly, weaponized incompetence, that you have to do them over. When you complain, they say, "I'm sorry, I'm just not as good at this as you are. I try so hard, but I always mess up." Eventually, you just stop asking for help because it's easier to do it yourself. That is exactly what they wanted. Point 5. The public versus private split. The lion versus the snake. Finally, let's look at the image. An overt narcissist is usually the same person everywhere. They are the lion. They want to be seen as powerful by everyone. A covert narcissist is the snake in the grass. They have a split persona. They are the helpful neighbor, the involved parent, or the patient spouse in public. But the moment the front door closes, the mask drops. The warmth vanishes. The silence begins. This creates cognitive dissonance. This is a state where your brain holds two opposite ideas at once. I love this person because they are so kind to everyone, and I am terrified of this person because they are so cold to me. This mental friction is what causes the exhaustion and brain fog you feel every day. You go to a party where your partner is the perfect spouse. On the drive home, you say, "I had a nice time tonight." They don't look at you. They just stare at the road and say, "I'm sure you did. You spent the whole night talking to everyone but me. But that's fine. I'm used to being invisible." The perfect night is instantly destroyed, and you are left wondering what you did wrong. If you recognize these patterns, I want you to take a deep breath. The reason the covert narcissist feels deadlier is because they attack your reality, not just your feelings. Let's summarize what we've learned today. While the overt narcissist is a storm you can see, the covert narcissist is the quiet erosion of your soul. They use guilt instead of rage, pity instead of power, and a public mask of kindness to keep you isolated. The fact that you are here, watching this and trying to understand these complex terms already says something very important about you. It means your intuition is still alive. It means that small voice inside you telling you that something is wrong is actually right. You are not crazy. You are just in a very confusing psychological fog. Here's one small step you can take today. Start a reality journal.
Some people find that writing down exactly what was said and how it made them feel helps them see the patterns when the gaslighting starts. Don't write it for them, write it for your future self. Just one entry a day can help you rebuild the foundation that has been slowly leaking away. I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a martyr or someone who used kindness to make you feel guilty? Drop a 1 in the comments if you've experienced the silent treatment, or a 2 if you've dealt with someone who is an angel in public, but a ghost at home. If this video gave you a name for something you've been living through, please subscribe. That's what this channel is for, helping you find the words so you can find your way back to yourself.